Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the breakfast show, Trading Idea with SMARTRobie. And how is everybody? Good. I suppose this morning is the final day of the Chinese New Year, the Lunar Chinese New Year for 2021. It's Chap Gourmet. So a very happy Chap Gourmet to all of you who is celebrating today. It is a very significant event in the Chinese community, especially those who is still single. You know, they always say that they try to find a partner in their life. For those of you who are seeking for a partner in your life, hopefully you'll find them very, very soon. But if not, you can always find a little bit of opportunity in the stock market. That's right. Now, last night we have the Dow Jones closing down almost 400 points after the rise of the interest rate, but more on those in the later segment when we talk about US market. But what's more important is the KLSE did hold at its level. We just saw that almost breaking the ATR stop loss, and yesterday we have the up almost 24 points, and this morning we are still holding up there just at that support. So importantly, those of us who are technically inclined like myself, it seems we are forming a double bottom. That's right, a double bottom at the KLSE. So let's look at what we have for you this morning in our breakfast show. And thank you for sharing. Those of you who has just joined us, just type one there. Those of you just joined us. And also, if you have some stocks for me that you want me to look at, do type it in there. I'll be happy enough to help you to see all those. So thank you very much for your audience. We really appreciate it. And during this time that you spend with me, I want to make sure there are values that you can take away with it tonight with our segment that we have for you today, which is that's right. In our breakfast show for SMARTRobie today, we hope that you can also learn something about in our advanced level. That's right. In the advanced level, we generally look at premium alerts. So let's look at what we have for you. And we have two stock trade idea from the premium level, which update itself every 30 minutes. That's right. So let's go on to our Bursa headline that we have for you in here. Definitely today is the rising tech boom on Bursa Malaysia. That's right. This was reported by the HCEO morning briefing and talk about, you know, all those technology stocks. It's more like semiconductors lah. Semiconductor technology. We have UWC, Unisem, MPI, Frontcan, Penmaster, Inari. The list just goes on. But if you know from last Wednesday, that's right, last Wednesday is our breakfast show, and our focus has been on trending stocks. Many of these stocks, we have picked it up very, very early, isn't it? In December, some in January, as even early of late November last year, 2020. Now, this is no surprise to those of you who are, listening for the first time. Partly it's because by the time this story make it to the front line of Edge, of Star, of any of those media, do take note. Profit taking will come place. That's right, especially those of you who are beginner and those of you who just type one. This is a first time experience. Let me explain to you. Typically, stocks will move ahead of the news. By the time you read this news, it's a bit late, isn't it? That's right. So that's why we focus on volume spread analysis, which is part and parcel of SMARTRobie offering to those of you who are using SMARTRobie. Now let's look at what we have for you right now. We can see just on top of me here, and you can see we were very, very close in breaking that ATR stop loss at 1564. Let me just blow it up for you in here. 1560, it hold, and then we have this 24 point. Having said that, we are still in what we call a sideways market for KLSE. A lot of analysts are, putting up a very, rosy closing around like 1880, which I did talk about it on Wednesday night. If you did not see my live FB talk on the 5 lesson learned from the biggest winner of 2020, go and check it out on YouTube. Or even better, subscribe to our YouTube and you will get notified for any of our new posting, so to keep updated. Now, why I say this is because a lot has been said about the vaccine rollout. I think you hear this, and also one of our Minister of Science and Technology, Khairi Jamaluddin, also came out and say the earliest poll that is GE15, that's right, GE15 will be in September. And we all know, historically, looking back, the last one that we have for general election 14, which is on May 8, 2018, Haha, we have what happened before the election, the event, right? Usually stock market go down. And will we follow this trend this year? Having said that, the KLCI right now, it's heavily capitalized by finance, the rubber glove, and we all know rubber glove where they are today. But I will talk about it in the later slides. Let's move on to our next story we have for you, all right? Which is Inari. That's right. Now we saw Inari broke a new high for the very good report. You can see in here the early adoption of 5G. Research house are giving some sort of target price in here, and it is a buy call. You can see this is a buy call, higher target price to almost 4 ringgit, and there is someone even saying this could go up to 5 ringgit 20 cents, but we take it with a pinch of salt lah. Of course, those of you who have came to our earlier talk, the one that we did on the 9th of January, the stock market pick on a special Zoom session, it is one of those stocks that is featured in that. Of course, not many people take notice of it. It's always the case. That's why we always say this is actually a very good market. If everybody jump into a new stock, then how would the how would the experience, how would the smart money make out of it? But the more that we try to do education in here, the better it is. You can look at Inari this morning, just type Inari. Having said that, you can hit that button and let's look at the stock price, stock comment, stock price in here. You can see that is the nice line change. And guess what? We also have a green pentagon with the Inari, which goes hand in hand. And the last green pentagon that we have was, if you look back at the date, let me just switch to a bigger chart, was around the 17th, right? 17th of January, and it was around just short of 2 ringgit 80 cents in here. Of course, having said that, now it's 360 already. Target price is $4. These are from the analyst, the report that you see above in here. But it does look like the green pentagon also agreed with some of the messages that we see in here. Buy call here from this analyst in here, I think from one of the research house. You can read this also in our Telegram or our SMARTRobie Facebook too. Let's move on to our next story that we have for you. Now, next story is also precious metal continue to go higher on aluminum prices. And do take note, one of the stocks that we did for our portfolio strategy, remember the Pentagon guided portfolio strategy, is S Steel and continue to make headline. Now, we all know right now all the steel, whether what steel, all going up, and we have one trade idea also on steel for you. So make sure you stay until the end of our talk inside there. We will discuss on that trade idea of steel. So Kenanga is saying that it is a record year and we are seeing precious metal about to test almost 10 ringgit. Having said that, we can see this materialize in here, and let's hit precious metal. Okay, and we hit the stock comment and chart, and you could see this was a nicer one in here. On the 7th of February, switching to a wider chart, you could see that was the green pentagon you could be in, and then the breakthrough above the 9 ringgit in here. RHB has raised also the LME aluminium prices on this news article to between 2,100 ringgit, which also synonymous with the rise of commodities. All the commodities worldwide are rising. We know the oil are going up, the CPO are going up, aluminum is going up. And is it a surprise? Definitely not, because we are talking about COVID-19 vaccine rollout, which is actually giving a lot of what we call economic recovery, and we also see rising interest rates. So if you've been listening me a fair bit, I'll try to explain this macroeconomic trend that you will see, and that's very prevailing, and that's why we see a lot of stocks going up. Of course, you may also ask the questions, how about those what we call travel and hospitality? They are coming back. And remember, last Wednesday we did have 2 trade ideas from that sector too. So check it out on the previous segment that we have inside there. All right, so let's move on. Okay, and move on in here to our next segment in here. Now, of course, we also want to talk about the so-called, the not so outdated or maybe sector which everybody used to love. That's right, the rubber glove. That's right. Now, if you look at the rubber glove has been really falling. Let me just bring up top glove chart in here, and you can see if you have followed SMARTRobie, And question is whether do you want to follow or not. All right, let's look at SMARTRobie in here, and put in the stock comment. And right now you can see way back, we have this 7th of February already red pentagon, and we broke through the ATR stop loss to around 580. You could see, switching to a bigger chart, you can see inside there. So it is no surprise that what we see, what we have today. But having said that, now analysts are reporting, and I do believe, and I do agree with them, many of these stocks right now, whether it is Hartalega, Top Glove, Supermax, are very, very bargain. And the only way to see that is to hit the stock fundamentals. Look at Top Glove, and you can see it is rated 5 out of 8. Very, very good. And it is considered to be undervalued. You can see obviously Top Glove is undervalued with the 10% discount at 500 in here. The intrinsic value based on PE is about 36 ringgit. That's right, 36 ringgit. But right now it has dropped all the way to 5 ringgit and 30 cents. So do take note. But of course, if you look behind it, my personal opinion about why Rubber Glove didn't do what it does is very, very simple, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, foreign funds for the KLCI is no longer here because they have left based on the uncertainty of the economics that we've seen so far, the COVID-19, as well as the GE15. So the institutional has already sold from the Rubber Glove because they find that, look, whatever the case is, institution, we talk about EPF, KWP, they have taken a very, very small position. They're so big of the position. So what is left is you and me, the small retailer, right? And the small retailer is the one really finally holding some of these Rubber Gloves. So how to make money between you and me? Cannot, right? We need and we want the foreign funds to come in, and then the institution pick it up. Then you will see a lot of the Rubber Gloves. But also don't forget, many of the institutional, the big short sellers, are holding some of the big position on the short selling for Hartalega and Top Glove. That is why we see this depressed price going forward. But I do take note that eventually some of these Rubber Glove will recover. And once that recover is when the vaccine is a full rollout. No one is talking about the vaccine rollout again. Then you'll see the Rubber Glove will continue to pick up. Because right now the Rubber Glove, people just don't want to know about the vaccines rolling up. People just don't want to talk about the Rubber Glove. So that is the condition that we see. Do you agree with me so far? If you agree with me so far, give me a thumbs up. All right. So that is why we still need to wait for that accumulation. If you look from here, you can see we haven't seen the stage 1 accumulation. We continue to see breakdown. But I think this is a little bit more. We are very close to the bottom in here. We need to see the volume coming in here. All right. If you agreed with me again, give me another thumbs up. Let's move on to our next news. Now, next news is on a property player from Negeri Sembilan, Matrix Concept, a net profit high of 75 million in here. Let's key in there and check it out. And one of the manners, the way we want to do our so-called news checking is anything that you come across, just check out the stock comment and charts. That will put you in the right position. So you can see even prior to this news, this market, yesterday, the market already rise because they anticipated the market's going to be good. You can see it's gone back to 180, but it is still in the red pentagon. And let's look at the stock price this morning. Should be up this morning, and it is unchanged, still at 180. It's just that maybe property is not making the headline that it does, especially in the tech stock. That's right, in here. A lot will be said on the premium alerts and also on our SMARTRobie charts inside here. All right, so let's move on to our next news. Is Public Bank, which is the favorite of many senior investors. That's right. Now, some of you who are a bit senior, then you said you don't want so much volatility. Is it the right time to get Public Bank? Definitely with this result. All right, Public Bank posts an earning of 4.8 billion for, that's a lot of money, isn't it? So let's type in Public Bank and see where Public Bank is. Now, I always get questions. People say, hey, you want to buy Public Bank or not? I think Public Bank should be in everybody's portfolio. The question is how much you want. I do have Public Bank for my own one. I think my price, if you average down, maybe is less than 1 ringgit or 2 ringgit in there. And you can, let's look at the chart. And switching on to the bigger chart in here, you can see right now we have green pentagon for public bank. Okay, so you all know what to do lah. Whether you want to enter or don't enter. But let's look at the dividend. Since we are in this public bank, I always want to see what kind of dividend it is. It is giving, okay, today the dividend is not yet updated. We will make sure this will get updated soon. All right. So let's do this afterwards. Okay, let's move on to our next story here. Okay, so our next story is on the US market. Now the US market fell, as I said before, at the beginning of this show because of the rising interest rate. Now the interest rate has risen for the 10-year treasury yield curve has risen to 1.6. If you look at the chart of the yield curve, those of you who have trading view, just type 10Y interest rate, you will see, or 10YT interest rate, you will see that interest rate yield curve shot up to 1.6. Close to 1.5, and you have one of these very widespread bar in here, and that's caused a lot of jittery in the US market. I've said before earlier on in the earlier talk about interest rate will have a profound valuation on the tech stock because it takes away the present value, getting it, erode it as such. That's why we are seeing the tech stock is recovering. But having said that, I do believe the US Dow Jones continue to hold its support level at 31,000, and higher interest rate economic recovery will is addressing this tech stocks selection in here. But having said that, you need to bear through it. But one warning: this correction that we see in tech stock hasn't come to Malaysia yet. It will. Now that we have seen Inari and many other tech stocks being brought up. Remember the earlier slide. So means there will be likely distribution from the tech stock. For those of you who are not able to see this, it is partly because you have to look at price and volume. So take note of that one. Be warned, correction for the tech stock will come to. Okay, let's move on to our next segment in here. Now, next segment has always been the agenda for our breakthrough show. How to learn those top trades that we have in 2020 and make sure you also pick them up in 2021. Every week that we do in our breakfast show, we try to pick up some trade ideas, definitely from the Monday session that we do for the beginners. We have a few good trades. I think the PIE, then also on Wednesday, our shows, we also pick up a few good tech like UWC and Great Techs. Now the question is while as I explain this, you can see we use the Pentagon, we use the blue trend zone and the orange trend zone to write our profit, and from then onward we build that into a Pentagon guided trading portfolio strategy. Now last year on the back testing that is a very good return of 106.3% return, which for a hypothetically portfolio of 35,000, you'll make 35,000 in here for the full year of our average 8.8% return. Now we are trying to replicate the same result for this year. So far from the last 2 months, we are up 7.6%. One of the first trade that we did, JHM, we hit our profit target. And right now, I would like to share with you, S-Steel, which is our second trade that we've done in here, is continued to do well too. Okay, S-Steel, we are still running our profits in here. And the reason why we want to show this is those of you who came to our masterclass and we have shared with you the trading rules, the methodology, so you're able to follow it while we continue to make real money, real time, sharing with you for the next 12 months how we want to make. Hopefully we don't make 106% like what we did in 2020, but if we can do 20 or 30%, we have beaten the KLSE market in here, because we always want to prove to many of our members that you can make money, but you need to have an agenda, and that agenda is train trader and train investor. A lot of the time that we spend is very important. More importantly is that the return that you see, and through our methodology that we have using SMARTRobie, we are definitely up at real time, so you can follow from all our daily shows inside here. Let's look at the Southern Steel. Okay. Yep, it's up 2.3%. That's right, up 2.3% up in here. That's a very nice one in here. I think we are already plus 20% in here. But once the trade is successful, we will update this chart, and hopefully we are maybe above double-digit return, which many of us are looking at, because we are looking at from a month-to-month basis for comparison. Again, a lot of this is partly due to our system of algorithm trading. That's right. I hope you enjoy this in here, and if you do follow us on our portfolio. And if you're really interested to learn this, we have our April intake. That's right. And also next Wednesday, it's our member session that we'll be talking about the Pentagon Guider trading portfolio strategy, not only for the KLSE, but also extend to the US market. That's right. It's even more effective on the US market. Do take note of that one. Now, let's look at some of the highlight that we have in the past advanced trade idea here is Inix. That's right, we have 55%, MYG 14%. Now, these are very short bursts. Mean pop, 3 days, hit that kind of target here, 10%, 12%. And remember, last Wednesday, I asked some of your profit targets. Many of you have 10%, 15%. And this kind of fit very well too. You can see 4%. Tasco hit 7.4%, 4 bars. And these are very, very short bursts, having said that. And last week, we have this stock called PineApp, 14 February. Let me just bring this stock in here for you. Okay, and this is Southern Steel right now. Let me just push this a bit here. Right, you can see very nicely done. It's we enter at the green pentagon at the opening here. So what I want to do, just recap this again. Price level in here. Right, we're up to here. Yes, we are 24%. In the money. Very nice, huh? If you do and follow the trade, you'll be a couple of thousand ringgit in the money already. Okay, all right. And during that time, you don't need to think much. Just follow the trend. That's about it. Okay, but anyway, right now we want to talk about what? We want to talk about PineApp. That's right. Now PineApp, we will switch to an active chart here. We switch to an active chart, and since we are intraday and these are generated every 30 minutes, so we look at the hourly chart. Now, on the 19th of February, where we first talk about this trade, those of you who follow, we are somewhere around here, 10 o'clock. The market did move up. But what was interesting, when you see high volume, climatic volume, you need to be very careful with that. And the market will sort of move sideways. But right now, the market on the hourly chart has turned red pentagon in here. You can see the volume diminishes in here. So in order for this market to go up, what we need to see? That's right, we need to see step up volume. So we need to have this volume coming out, right? And this market maybe peak through 85 and 86 cents. Let's switch to a daily chart to have an overall market. You can see the market actually came off. There was a big sell-off, but we have all the technology stocks in it. Inari, we have Press Metal, Penta, all turn. Even if you look at this morning, where is Inari? Right, it is still holding up nicely. The question is, a lot of the analysts has revised this to $4. So which means Inari will hold its ground. Because some people who say, hey, analysts also say $4. I got Inari, why I want to sell? All right, so that's always like that, because what has happened is our market is only left with retailer. If retailer already bought the rubber glove, already have that, right? So what has happened? We have a lot of short sellers, so short sellers pushing the rubber. So on this side of the Inari, people are just merely holding this in here. All right. So let's look at also Penta. Okay, and these are all, yeah, they're holding up their nice base. UWC, okay, they're holding their base inside here. This morning the market drops. There was no follow through. Let's look at also Globetronics. Okay, Globetronic open up and then sell down here 6% in here. We have to see what's going to be happening on Globetronics in here. So there are already some selling off in here already, but it's no surprise. You can see why, because we have this red pentagon. The trend has certainly turned for that much better. All right, so let's move on to our next segment. Now, next segment will be on, that's right, advanced trade idea. And we are at the 26th of February today. And for episode 38, we have 2 trade idea, which came out in our premium alert. You can hit the premium alert here. You can see it refreshes itself every 30 minutes. We have Gershan, we have DataPreg, we have Signature, BSLCorp, that's the one that we pick up. And we have also, early on was ChooBee. Okay, let's look at ChooBee. Because it's metal, because all the metal all moving up. Okay, ChooBee. Okay, this is a very nice one. Take out of the upthrust. Again, we switch back to our hourly chart here. You can see, finally, this is where we have this low volume. Then the volume picks up, right? And then we have, guess what? NS. That's right. Now, those of you who are in our evening session following our senior trainer, Zac, always talk about NS. No supply. No supply is a very, very powerful one of the setup on VSA, and it has a very, very good win rate. Check that one out. No, so we have no supply in here, and that's one of the reasons why I also like this, giving a chance for ChooBee to go higher. That's right. So if you look at the daily chart, this one take out the upthrust. It's likely to going to go 175, 180 over there. Again, next week we will come back and review it. So let's look at ChooBee for one, and the next one is let me just bring this down. Is BSLCorp. That's right, BSLCorp. BSLCorp. You can see BSLCorp turning green pentagon. Very nice one in here. Again, switching it to hourly chart, you can see that's right. Look at that. Look at that. These are very, very classic. Low volume accumulation, then right, push up all the step up volume and the step. This is one of the classic patterns that you're like. So you're able to pick it up, but you must switch to an hourly chart and read this, and then you're able to pick it up in here. Again, remember, not all trades will work in the front, but next week we'll come back just like what we will for PineApps. Okay. And of course, these are the one that I was talking about. This is a usual trade setup. They want pay attention to the step up volume and the step down. And this is the schematic that I want to share with you every week. Okay. Of course, those of you who want to know about what I talk about, no supply in here, go check out this QR code and watch more of what we have for you in here. So again, those of you who want to know what are those sectors in technology, you can type on the sector analysis and look at them in here. Because for the remaining time, I want to look at some of the stocks that you guys have, right? If you want me. And also don't forget on Tuesday, Warren, that's right, this coming Tuesday at 3 p.m. together with my co-host, Mr. Leong Kaming, we'll be talking about some features of the COVID-19 recovery stocks and where they're going to be leading to. We will use the Warren as a way to look at how we can play into this vaccine rollout and so make sure you join me next Tuesday. And also not forgetting, on the 10th of March, our talk topic will be why you should diversify to the US stock market. And those of you who have been thinking how to earn US dollar, that's right, maybe this is a good session, how you want to join us and don't know why about US market. So this is a session where we talk about why you should diversify to US market to improve your KLSE portfolio. That's right. So make sure you join me on the 10th of March for that one in here. And also not forgetting, for all your effort that those of you who join us, do leave us a good feedback on our QR code on our SMARTRobie in here, so we can continue to give you great products, great service like we do inside here. So do give us a feedback on our SMARTRobie. All things being equal, we will do our absolutely best to satisfy you right now. And right now, I want to look at the stocks that you have in here. Some of you already have it inside. Let's look at the green YB. Okay, green YB. Green YB will be, yes, green U. So green U, switch to a daily chart first. Okay. This is still okay. As I said before, we're still in the green pentagon. So the trend is still blue. But do take note, as the market go higher, you see this step down volume. That is not good. Because the market go up, you need to have step up volume, isn't it? And even if you switch to an hourly chart, right, you can see the market's moving sideways. So while moving sideways, just continue to monitor it. But we expect this market to go higher, not go lower. All right, so keep that in mind. Okay, so it's not that difficult. This one green trend. Let's look at the next one is advanced corn. Okay, advanced corn. I'll make sure I got the spelling right first. Advanced Con, Advanced Synergy, yeah, ADV. Yes, right. So Advanced Con again is, you have uptrust. So usually the uptrust is not so good because you have profit taking at the top in time. But what is also good, you can see the volume is still moving sideways, not ready to break up yet, still slow. And we all know construction like this, it's not going to make a big move. The tech stock is the one here. So to know which sector, go over and type out sector analysis, then you can see that on here. Just type out sector analysis and you're able to see some of those stocks inside. It's not ready to go up yet. And we have that from, okay, let's go to the next morning there. Okay, Inari still good. I think I talked about that already. Axiata, let's look at Axiata. Okay, Axiata, we have green pentagon in here. It's building a nice space inside here. I think this one looks pretty all right. It was on earnings. Again, this will play on the 5G. Probably you have some sort of support in here, and just use the exit strategy, okay, to form your opinion what you want to do with this. Okay, so let's look at exit strategy for Axiata, and you can see what do you say? Think to exit at $3.60, okay, or $3.95 TP2. Okay, remember on Wednesday night we did talk about TP2, isn't it? When you want to run your profit, but be cautious. Should Axiata turn lower, stop loss is 325. 325 is just here. 325. Yeah. Okay. Just take note of that one. All right. So let's move on to some of you have Olga. Okay. I think rubber glove. I've talked about it just now already. Okay. And rubber glove, you still need to jaga a bit. The charts is going to be very bad, Adrian. All right. So let's look at data prep. Okay, data prep. Wow, this one shot all the way up. Continue to run it. Now you may ask me why there isn't a red pentagon. Now do take note. SMARTRobie is designed when the market go through a climatic like this, 57%, all this, right? Usually, we don't sort of so-called give a call signal. You can see here 40%. 12%. There is probably some merger in here. It used to be around 15% and short straight up. That is why you can make a lot of money in there. But this kind of chart you can trade on to an hourly chart. Of course, you may ask, if you are not in, you want to buy, can or not use the trading plan. But to me, I've seen this kind of thing in here. If I don't see a green pentagon, I want to avoid, because remember, I'm not looking for too much excitement. I know many of you, especially if you don't have a trained investor agenda or a trained trader agenda, you want to chase for this kind of stock. It's okay. Go ahead and do it. But learn from it if it's not successful, right? I always say time and time again, sometimes we make mistakes, but we never go back and improve it. Partly it's because we don't have a trained agenda and a trained plan in mind, so we keep repeating them again, right? This kind of stocks, it's, in my opinion, it's not for me, because you can see it running. Yes, you can do jump in, but you must do also understand the underlying too. From a chart wise, there are many other stocks will give me better win, because we always want to guarantee the return. Definitely right now it's up already 12%. You can jump in, but eventually it can also turn around you. Important is to understand those underlying and before you go in. All right. Having said that, it's not that we don't want to avoid it. If you know some of the reasons on chart wise, you switch to a maybe hourly chart. It looks good too. You can see green pentagon in here, and maybe when you see red one, then you want to exit. On this portion here, you can see green pentagon, you have gone in and you exited here. Here you can go in, and it's just the beginning of a new run on the intraday data prep. Use the active chart. Okay. Let's move on to our next in here. I'm just going to switch over to another side here. We have here, okay. Let's look at FP Group. Okay, FP Group, found back. Now, found back for more or for what? It already broken through the ATR stop loss, right? You can see once it broke through in here, it's time to out. Okay, let's look at FP Group. Not all trade works. Okay, FP Group, we have the exit strategy inside here. You need to cut. So let's look at FP Group. Think to exit if you break the 764. 764. Oh, further down here again, FP Group is a down can go low. It's a 3-month low. Don't average down. Check news for FP Group. Okay. Think to exit if you break below the ATSR at 764, which is way down inside here. But in my opinion, it has broken through in here. 764 will be somewhere around here, right? It's still a long way down, but the way I look at it, I don't even want to wait until 764. I really want to exit, because if you look back to the ATR stop loss, let's look at the chart here, right? You can see earlier on, okay, earlier on, when you have the ATR stop loss, the ATR, let me just switch to a bigger chart here, right? You can see the 90 cents. The 90 cent level already broke. Once you break through the ATR stop loss early on in there, the ATR stop will go lower and lower. Just take note of that one, okay? When you broke through the first few ATR stop loss from the chart, you want to be exiting. Because some people don't want to exit, there's still another one ATR stop inside there. So just take note of it. It doesn't look very good. There are some things, we want to check out the news, see if there's anything on the news side. Okay, move to a critical auto parts. That was on November 17. That's all they have, okay? October 28, spin-off for better value. So there is probably a company restructuring the things that you do, but from a chart-wise, it's moved to just cut loss and move something else. All right, so I will do one or two more in here. And we have MQ Tech. MQ Tech to look at. That will probably be my last one for today. Okay, MQ Tech still is okay because it's green pentagon in here. It's trading on the nice uptrend here. And again, use the exit strategy for that purpose. You'll be fine on that much. So thank you very much. And we really appreciate for those of you who will give me a feedback on my SMARTRobie, right? I will go through it. So when you put in your stock review next time, you'll be the first person I will do that. So that is an incentive for you, for those of you who give us a feedback on our SMARTRobie. So I will know your name, and when I come back next week, I see that you already review us. You'll be first for me to review your stock. That is a little small incentive for you to at least give us a feedback on our Facebook in here, and we really appreciate for the time that you spend with me. Thank you very much in here, and don't forget don't forget those of you who already registered for our April intake. That will be great. We'll be inviting you to our Pentagon Guided session. Those of you who have, we are doing next Wednesday. So the registration is already open for April 2021. No doubt, do come in. You have not go through our training yet, but we want you to go to our Pentagon Guided training, so you know of those rules, like the one we talk about, the 7% return so far for January, and we want you to get in quickly and do forward testing to build the confidence. And if we have a good run in some of those sectors, you will benefit. And to me, I think that's more important when you are guided by our coaches and us, so you will benefit from it. Else, I always find it, have an agenda in your education. When you are guided, then you'll do that. So make sure those of you who are thinking of our April intake here, do come in, and we will do the next session. Remember, next Wednesday session, we'll start off with our Pentagon Guided training, which is from our masterclass. All right. And don't forget also our Telegram chat room in here. For those of you who are first time, make sure you join us to be updated in all our materials and trading ideas and education. So thank you very much, and thank you for your time, and have an enjoyable day for today. Happy Chap Gourmet to all of you in here. And for those of you who have signed up for our April India, I'll see you next Wednesday. And also our member, do join us for the Pentagon Guided training, because this round we will talk about the US market in there. Something for you to enhance your knowledge and earn greater wealth. All right. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.